are now live on episode 5 of Made in the 80s with your two favorite dipshits from the 80s, the graded 80s kid, J-Boy, and his dipshit side partner, certainly double dipshit today, Seal VHS, Thomas Nardini, the Nardini in the house, big time. Okay, well, episode 5, we have some good stuff for you.
Can I say hello to the people?
Yes.
Fly ball. God.
Epic. Love it. Actually, that reminds me, I should get something out for later in a minute, because I do have something cool that we'll tie that in with. But yeah, so this week we have this is going to be a real wing it episode, you know, because there isn't a lot of specific video game VHS.
Thank God. No more stupid auction talk, for fuck's sake.
You don't understand. I got like 6 messages like, oh, would you guys stop talking about shit that nobody cares about? I just want to hear numbers and facts. I'm like, okay, well,
they can research that shit themselves. It's all there.
I mean, we got to understand our voter base. Certainly, that's part of it.
Okay, so the 6 people that listen like auctions. But if we ever get any more, God forbid, they're not all going to be auction freaks.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're definitely trying to make this a little bit about, you know, just 80s nostalgia in general, and just taking it from there. That's for sure. But I do like starting with a base. And honestly, like, I wanted to talk about this last week, because I'm just so hyped up. I know you've been watching it. I don't know what episode you're on, but
what?
I've been watching The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I hate superhero movies. I mean, so, okay, let's go all the way back. We'll take it back. And we'll start with the first piece up here on the shelf. I'll just pull it down. This was a, we got to have it come from somewhere. Go Gadget Arms. This was an amazing piece that I traded for recently. Superman 2 slipcase. Early seal, has the Warner full wraparound watermarks. IGS graded 8, 9. Thank you, Rare Value. That was a nice pickup trade for me.
Sorry, what year is that?
Well, Superman 2 came out in 81.
No, I know that. No, I mean the slip
80?
cover.
Oh, well, this is the 87 slip cover, which, you know, I really like this better than the Clam, even though obviously the Clam, I've seen two copies of that sealed in my 2 years of collecting.
You might be seeing a third. I don't want to get ahead of the gun here, but
really,
mm-hmm.
Wow, that would blow some minds. But
we'll see, dude. That guy's kind of crazy, so who knows? And he hasn't sent me pictures yet. But anyway, I didn't mean to derail your thing.
But I love that slipcase because it's got the Twin Towers in it. And I just think let's be honest. I mean, the majority of us remember, except for the rare, awesome guys that had the chance to have a lot of clamshell stuff like Danny, or at least have it in your hands. We were, you know, the nostalgia is in those slipcase VHS tapes, at least for me. And so I just
because as much as we love the 80s, like the age I was when I could get my own, like, you know, tapes and shit, that was all slipcover. The only clamshell stuff was like the Disney stuff, and I hated that then. I hate it now. But so yeah, my heart is with the slipcovers, but obviously the value is a little more with the, you know, the clams and whatnot.
Well, certainly a lot more. I mean, that Superman 2 Clam would do a lot of money somewhere. And obviously we'll see what the big box does. I don't know, we'll go into auction for 2 seconds. They did put up the preview for the next VHS auction, and there's some really, really cool stuff in there.
You made it 4.5 minutes without mentioning an auction.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But I mean, what are our reasons for that? I thought there were 2 cool things about that. One, there's an early print big box WCI Superman.
Oh yeah, and that thing's a stunner, dude.
Woo, that's one of the most. If I could just pick one to have of a early VHS, it would probably be that. I mean, it's so beautiful. The black and white tone with the Superman, it just pops. I mean, that is just man, that is a beautiful piece. They have all the Rockies in big box in there.
Mhm.
I think if I was reading the story about it, the majority of those really hard to find early big boxes are from a time capsule box that some parents put together when their son was born in like 1980, whatever. 80, 81, 79. I mean, it would have, well, there's a 3, so it'd have to be like 82, 3, somewhere in there. And then they opened it recently, and that was some of the stuff that was in there. And that's what's at the auction now. I got a message. It got foggy on our Instagram live. Hopefully that's cleared up now.
It should.
I don't know.
I think that was me. For whatever reason, it just booted me out, and my phone rebooted. Did you lose me at all on Instagram?
I don't think so.
That's weird. Anyway, well, yeah. I hope we're back now.
So, that Superman, obviously, that's in essence like the second slipcase, because the first one has the silver tab sticker on the bottom, which that one does not. But on the price of highlight and the realized prices, yes, I know about the auctions and the prices, but I like knowing your opinions on them and the realized prices. Yes, certainly. And I think that. I mean, I don't want to call anything a make or break. I think right now is a really difficult time for most collectibles, except high-end stuff like we talked about last week. I mean, the big whales, their wallets are recession-proof, right? So that big stuff is still going. There's been a lot of recent sports card and sports memorabilia sales hit recently that are still breaking records. So I think the big stuff is still moving. And I don't want to call anything, because do I think the recent week sales for anything below Grail pieces in video games were make or break? No, I just think that's just where we find ourselves right now. I mean, I think there'll be a big change in a lot of things financially when the Fed eases its policy. I mean, it'll inevitably, whether that takes 3 months or a year or whatever, you're going to see Bitcoin prices change. You're going to see a lot of, tech stocks change. You're going to see a lot of collectible stuff rebound. I think all of that will happen.
So I looked into this at the end of the 70s, and well, hey, this is 80s actually. 80s topic, early 80s when inflation hit, and then they raised the rates. They got up to like the mid-teens, and I looked at a chart of each year until where it got back to the levels before it started jumping, and it was 8 years. And it had done this one other time. I can't remember the decade, but it was also 8 years. So who knows what's going to happen? But as far as patterns go, we're looking at 8 years. Now, Bitcoin, I think, will start raising in about 2 years. I think it's just following its 4-year pattern. Not to get too nerdy, but it does this every single time. So I think we still have a year or two if you want to invest in Bitcoin before it pops again. That being said, I don't think Bitcoin dropping was necessarily just because of the 4-year bull run. Obviously, the economy and all that kind of shit had a lot to do with it, but I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. This is why I need to prepare these things.
No, you don't need to prepare anything. It's much better when we don't prepare, but I don't understand what
Not the last 30 seconds.
What's going on here? Okay. What? No, so, but I don't want to call that a make or break auction for the upcoming VHS, but I do think that, it could be a make because there's so many big ultra rare pieces there that haven't found any comps previously because they just don't exist,
Well, and you mentioned sports cards, and in the modern, those are one of ones. There's no more of those are going to pop. No, right. Especially the Superman. And maybe you get a Rocky big box here or there. You're not going to get all three together in the same collection, pristine condition. Never going to happen again.
Well, I think Arc has the Warner big box, not the WCI. I think he has the second one. But yeah, I mean, those are. I'm in some ways I'm surprised that more of those haven't come up just from
Rocky
Superman, other big box, early big box stuff, because I'm just surprised that there aren't more people that just stash that. Like, oh, this is so cool, and collectible.
We've talked about a million times. The most collectible shit is the stuff that was never meant to be collected. This was never meant to be collected. And we've talked about that too, how at the time it's $80, $90 a pop. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah,
and that's also
probably that's maybe the bigger
inflation
thing.
Was happening then too. So people didn't have money to just, hey, I'm going to get this Superman VHS tape. I don't even know what VHS is, but I'm going to get it because it looks like a cool box. And then I'm going to save it. So that's why they're so valuable, because that's not logical and it never, ever happens.
Very true. Very true. My headphones are jacked. I'm just going to have to roll with it. That's what happens when you get them in some kind of Christmas package with socks. These came with socks.
Yeah, but how are the socks doing?
The socks are great. They very much keep my tootsies warm in the winter.
What over under what age median for a man?
Did I stop wearing a onesie?
No. At what
onesie
age,
pajamas? I still wear my onesie pajamas.
You're very childlike. Yeah.
Yeah, they're warm. There's nothing warmer. They're oversized. Incredibles onesie. I'll wear it for the next podcast.
I've seen it. Please don't.
Okay.
Okay. Over under the age in a man's life where socks as a Christmas gift becomes a good gift or was a bad gift. Meaning, like when you're a kid, they suck.
Oh yeah, you always get
nice pair of socks. Get me merino wool, 85% or above, no cheap shit. Socks. I'm happy for Christmas right now. As a kid, I would have been pissed.
Oh, did you get me some of those high end? What's that real popular company that does all the graphics and shit? Sock company. They're super popular.
Sock.
Yeah, but what's the name of them?
They're not comfortable. I don't know. Fucking rock socks.
No, they make a really good. Forget it. But those they make a nice cotton. Dude, the first 2 times you wear them from washing, and after that but that's typical. You know, like Allen Iverson said, he never wore this. If I had all the money in the world, I would never wear the same pair of socks twice.
He really said that?
No, he never. He was notorious for going to a away game, going shopping, buying all this shit, wearing it for the 2 days, and leaving it in the hotel and having it thrown out. Now,
I have always said, and I love the answer. He's top 3 ball player of all time for me. I love him. I've always said, I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be famous. I just want to have enough money to wear a new pair of socks every day.
Every day. Yes.
I'm 37.
Yeah.
We're not even close.
If I had all the money in the world, I'd have somebody do my hair every morning and never wear the same pair of socks twice, because there's something magic about the first time you wear socks before you wash them. Is there not?
God. That cushy feeling of new socks is unbelievable. But then underwear, I usually give those a wash because they feel a little like stiff or maybe itchy. But I tell you, getting back to the socks, that is like putting your foot in a sleeping bag. A brand new, 85%.
But that's what Iverson would just wear: new clothes, new threads. Boom, just leave them in the hotel. Off he would go. You know.
Well, I'm not a member.
Speaking of NBA clothing and stuff, dude, I'm loving that. Like a lot of the short shorts from the 80s are coming back across the board. Like I saw some like buff 20-year-old football douchebag kid. Awesome, loved him, not hating in any way. Walking to Chipotle the other day with like a mullet, all like shredded, just got out of the gym. Short shorts, bro. Awesome throwback early. And do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but the thing that really, the shorts kept getting a little longer every year of basketball. We were trying to but our school always had really short shorts. And then the Fab Five broke, right? And then I remember all of us petitioned and pushed the coaches to talk to I think it was freshman basketball. We all wanted longer shorts because prior to that, everything was, you didn't get your own shorts. There was always some stuff that was in the closet in the 80s that they pulled out every year. And, you got the shortest shorts. Most of that stuff was left over from the 70s, And so that was the big push I think that was what, 91, 92?
Just
92, I think 92. Yeah.
92.
That was 92.
Because that was Weber, Juwan Howard, the other
Stacey
guy.
Augman. No, something King.
We're missing one more big one.
Yeah, who am I missing? Where'd the sports cards go? Where'd Zach go? He would know. But yeah, that was Stacey Augman. No, that was Anderson Hunt. That was the UNLV team. That was one of my favorites. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Just before UNLV was like,
Fab Five. I'm missing. Oh, Jalen Rose.
That's
who I'm forgetting. But those I thought of. But who were the other?
Chris Webber.
Yeah, of course. Webber, Howard. I thought King. Yeah, Jimmy King and Ray Jackson. That was the 5. Yeah, Jimmy King, I remember. The one I never think of is Ray Jackson. Yeah, and that changed a lot of stuff as far as that. But back to let's take it all the way back now to Superman 2. I love that. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, superhero movies kind of died after Batman. My interest in them, the original Batman series. I loved that.
89 Batman, you're saying?
89 Batman. And even the sequels to that were mediocre at best.
Batman Returns is outstanding.
Yeah, decent. The next one,
I loved it as a kid.
But that's the Val Kilmer one, right?
Yeah, but now as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a piece of shit. Val Kilmer's a decent Bruce Wayne. And I mean, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones crushed that, though, as Riddler and Two-Face. Can you hear me? No.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah, you got me now?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, I'm going to lose the hat.
Please. You've worn a hat every damn time, and, well, now I see why you wear that. Okay.
Well, I didn't do my hair today.
I know. Neither did I. I swear to God, I did not do this today. Look at this little floop thing all by itself. I don't normally do that, but here we are, I don't
know what this little alfalfa thing I got going is, but Superman 2 to me is the greatest superhero movie of all time. I mean, it has so many classic lines. It's got, the General Zod and his 2 sidekicks. That chick is amazing, bro. Like, isn't she?
I'm unfamiliar, dude. I don't like Superman. I didn't like it as a kid. I don't like it now. So I don't know shit about those movies. The only thing I like is Superman 3 as Richard Pryor on the cover.
Oh, that's a great one too. Superman, when the computers take over.
Absolutely nothing to me. Batman is the only quote unquote superhero I like. That's it.
For what?
As far as superheroes go.
Oh.
Superheroes in general don't interest me. There's nothing based in reality. And the movies in the last 20 years, I know everybody loves them, but for the most part, I think they're just pure dog shit.
I'm not into any recent the last superhero movies that I thought were just decent, and I don't watch a lot of them, I thought Iron Man was pretty good, the first one, because it was like he was a real guy just with some cool stuff.
Well, that was a decent movie. Yeah, the first one was decent. I'll give you that. I forgot all about that. But yeah, then they got just too far with sequels. Continue, please.
And then I thought the Doctor Strange, the first one, was really cool, and I saw that because my dad loved that comic book, so we had to go see it. I like Deadpool. I like those. I know. I hated Deadpool. I can't. Those are the kind of guys I just want to kick them in the dick. Like guys that hang out, and they never stop talking in sarcasm the entire time that you're hanging out with them. That's who that was. That's who that movie was. I hated that movie so much. Oh my God. I think I walked out halfway through. But none of the modern stuff, dude. It's all garbage.
VHS. Yes, absolutely. I like Batman because he's just a dude. Not just because he's a dude, but it's a little bit more rooted in that realism. Like, I can believe that some rich kid got his parents killed and then inherited a fortune. And, I don't know about it like a Batmobile or all that kind of shit, but it's just a more dark story. Like, I hate to keep mentioning, but I'm a writer in general. So story is very important to me, and hero's journey and character arc. I just don't see that with the other ones. Sometimes hero's journey. Yeah. Like Superman, he started with the goddamn Gene Hackman or whatever. I don't know, but Batman's much better, to answer your question. Sorry.
I mean, that was kind of the end of the really good superhero movies, in my opinion. I think I can't believe the amount of superhero stuff that they pump out over the last 15 or
Because
20
they
years,
know
and the
people
amount
will
of
go see
people
it.
that go see that, and they're all the same. It's trash. It's just trash.
These are the same people that like to be told what to think and like. No imagination, no minds of their own. It's just little worthless. I'll stop there.
You're such a negative Nancy. You're so mean.
I am, but you know it's true.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying that. But that leads me to the reason why I fucking love The Boys. Dude, The Boys is so good. It's the anti-hero across the board. I mean, that show is so fucking brilliant, dude. Like it's the first show that I've seen. I mean, there's a few sprinkled in there that had their moments, but almost every episode you just jump up and go, fuck yeah, at the end, or like, no fucking way, or whatever. Like, it takes me back to Breaking Bad. I mean, that's how Breaking Bad was every episode. To me, still the greatest TV show ever on television.
That show was a bore to me. But
that show is...
stick with The Boys.
Okay.
All right. Who's your favorite character in The Boys?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's probably Butcher, but
Homelander all the way.
Homelander's great. I don't say he's my favorite character. He might be the best character in the show, but you asked me who my favorite character is. And the great part is that Butcher reminds me a lot of one of my good British friends that used to live here with me. Actually, he's in Montana now. He's has a big podcast show. And dude, there's so much alike. The fucking Cockney assholes, dude. That show, Butcher is so good. I mean, everybody in that is good. Starlight is amazing. What's the kid? God, I'm so bad with names. Huey. Huey is so good.
Dennis Quaid's kid. Yeah, great actor. He's perfect. They cast everybody perfect in that show. Like even the annoying chick that's in charge of Vaughn, the lady, I can't think of her name, but she looks like she loves coffee and cats.
Oh yeah, dude. Everybody. I love how they hit all the woke stuff, but with all tongue in cheek and like satire and just over the top. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have to hit it, and it's like they hit it perfectly where they keep both sides happy. Depending on your point of view and your perspective, they hit a topic, and all the woke people are like, "Oh, yeah, that's terrible," and blah blah blah.
That's why that show works from an interest standpoint and even a comedic standpoint, and to me, it follows that line of South Park where they make fun of everybody equally. There's no side chosen. They make fun of, like you said, each side. And that way, all the potential people who are going to watch the show, there's nothing alienated. So you're not knocking one side of your audience out right away. And I don't understand why 95% of shows, movies, everything is that.
Yeah. Dude, you see what I'm dealing with here? Do you see this? Do you see what I'm dealing with?
It's a little floppy.
Yeah.
You don't have any other pair of headphones anywhere?
Yeah, but I don't want to take a break.
Oh, yeah, because I'll freeze up.
You don't know what to talk about. Oh, fly ball?
Fly ball. Caught. Dynamite dropping money. That broadcasting school really paid off.
That's fucking brilliant, dude. Yeah, so I'm just dealing with this for the sake of the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Little sufferer.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You got some like masking tape? You can just kind of do one of these guys?
I mean, like, tell me, anybody if we grew up in the 80s, everything got fixed with duct tape. Am I right? Dude.
Is that going to be your white trash like tagline? Am I right?
Am I right? Am I right, people?
Huh? Yeah.
Are you with me? No, my dad used to duct tape fucking everything, even into the 90s. I mean, they made some really good duct tape going into the 90s, okay? Duct tape in the 80s was...
Eras of duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape era. I mean, I remember when we were in high school, my buddies and I used to go out drinking on the weekend, and then it would somehow turn into, home run derby on the mailboxes. And...
Of course.
Yeah, dude, we would get so drunk that we would just do our own mailboxes when we would get dropped off. And then my dad would get up in the morning and be like, Jay, mailbox is busted again, damn it. You and your friends. And then he would go out and he would duct tape that bitch onto the pole. Yeah, and just leave it there because he got so tired of replacing it by like the eighth one.
I love that he knew it was you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Of course. Do you
think he was just in bed, cozy in dreamland? And
Yep.
he just hears like this crack.
Boom. Uh-huh. Fly ball, deep left field. Dude, but real back to Michigan sports cards. Our dudes, that Dark Knight series with Christian Bale was solid.
That comment's been up for like 10 minutes. But yeah,
I know.
I didn't
Dude,
want to interrupt. But yeah, no, it is. I like the second one a lot in that series with the Joker. The rest are kind of boring to me.
they're too dark and just like the same. Like, I don't understand why all these ones are. Why are these things 3 fucking hours, dude? If you can't tell a good story in an hour and a half, like it's 1985, then you need another writer. Because I don't need 3 fucking hours. Like, dude, I forget which Hobbit movie it was. I got out of the theater and I'm like, I just watched 25 minutes of dwarfs eating cheese or hobbits eating fucking cheese. There was a
Is that
discussion.
what that's about? I've never seen.
I think it's a cheese. Yeah, it's a cheese movie.
I'm from Wisconsin.
Cheese connoisseurs. How do you not know? That's got to be the national state movie, I would think.
God, no, I had no idea. No,
it's a movie about hobbits eating cheese. One of the ones. I forget which one it is, but why are these 3 hours? Like, don't you miss
I don't think our state likes deformed people. That's why it didn't click there.
Yeah.
Cheese, yeah, but then you get a little weird guy eating it. And
those little fingers. Short people got no reason. Oh, God. No reason to live. Dude, could you imagine that song coming out now? That song came out in let me see what year that came out. Let me see 70s. What year that came out. No. That's an 80s song, bro, for sure.
You sure about that?
I bet you it is. Let's take a bet. Yes, you ready?
I'll say it's somewhere in the 70s.
77, the year I was born. You're right. I thought it was around early 80s. But, dude, could you imagine that song coming out now? The tiny little feet and tiny little hands going beep, beep, beep.
I can see him like performing that live at an award show and everyone's just, and he's like, beep, beep, beep. And then there's like a long pause and
I wonder Could you imagine that going over now? I mean, that's a classic. And Randy Newman, I think he's from Cleveland, or he lived in Cleveland for a while. That reminds me that we should probably talk a little bit about the Rock Hall induction aired this past weekend. I didn't watch it yet, but I certainly want to.
Priest got in.
Yeah, that was big. There's definitely not enough metal bands and 80s bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, no doubt, 100%.
Darn tootin'.
I mean, I was looking at the list a while back of snubbed omissions or guys that have barely even been nominated. I mean, dude, there is so much amazing music. Like, how they're putting some of this shit in there in a band, like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like Bad Company isn't in. Like, what? Like, it makes no sense, dude.
I mean, there's been complaints about that for 25 years, though. We don't need to go down that road. But yeah, I think everyone has, and it took Rush so long to get in. Like, that's insane to me. It's one of the biggest bands of all time, unique bands, most talented bands of all time, and way past their due to get in there.
Dude, look at some of the list of Rock Hall snubs.
Todd Rundgren.
I mean, there's a lot, dude. List of the biggest Rock and Roll Hall of Fame snubs.
Rat. Dokken.
I mean, yeah, but that list could go on and on. But, dude, I mean, look.
I don't know.
I mean, there's some that you're just like, how are you not that I'm against Eminem or whatever. I like that they've rebranded. It's about the music of young people, not the traditional, definition of rock and roll. But Bad Company, The Carpenters, Dave Matthews Band. So glad he's not in there. The worst shit ever. Faith No More, George Michael, the Guess Who. How is the Guess Who not in?
I agree. Those last three should all be in.
One of the great Iron Maiden, In Excess, Jane's Addiction.
Iron Maiden seems, of that list you just said, seems like the biggest snub.
I mean, I put them up there with. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just think that's
Well, see, and I'm always going to skew
Bad
towards
Company,
pure rock
Bad
or
Company
metal.
is huge, not being in there.
I
Huge.
agree.
The Guess Who not being in there, huge omission.
Well, they're Canadian.
Megadeth, huge omission. The Monkees, still. It says here Motley Crue, but I thought Motley Crue got in. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
I
Crue's
thought
not in. That's insane.
That's insane. I don't know when this list is from, but I know that some of those were on the list of omissions. Slayer. I think Soundgarden is in now. That's listed on here. Stone Temple Pilots, did they get in? I mean, they certainly should. They certainly should. And Weird Al. I mean, how is Weird Al not in? His movie just came out. I saw him this summer, Front Row. I haven't seen it yet because I think it's on Hulu or something that I don't get.
Dude, it's completely free. I thought that too. It's on Roku, and all you have to do is go to like RokuTV.com, and literally you just click on the movie and watch.
Nice plug. Checks in the mail.
Boom. And I watched it, and it's, dude, Daniel Radcliffe crushes it.
Really?
He should be nominated for a fucking Oscar. Like, I'm not really giving anything away, but the genius of the writing of this movie to make it a biopic, but a parody biopic, is just so perfect for Weird Al's career.
Oh yeah,
and what he does,
dude. Awesome. The show that I saw, we went and see the show this past summer, and he played all like kind of deep tracks. Wasn't any of his big hits. He did like a montage of his hits right at the end, like 30 seconds, 60 seconds of each one mixed together in like a acoustic jam fest. But dude, some of those that I had passed over, like I think about them to this day. Like there's this song, My Girl's in Love with Eddie Vedder. Have you ever heard that song by him? Dude, it's fucking brilliant, bro. You have to listen to that. The lyrics are so fucking hilarious. My Girl's in Love with, I got to give you some of these.
Does he sing like Eddie Vedder too?
Dude, you have to, you have to listen to it. That's how good it is. But my baby's in love with Eddie Vedder. This is it. This is it right here.
Is it so? Hold on. Is this an original song or is this like parodied to a song? And if so, what is the song?
It sounds like kind of a typical like douchey like shit grunge song. Jam. Yeah, not Pearl Jam specific, but just like a shit grunge song from that time with a little like ska and some other bullshit mixed in. She ever since she saw his poster in that record store, she says the way he grinds his molars is really sexy. She thinks he's so darn dysfunctional and Generation Xy.
Good rhyme at the end.
She likes his brooding angst and his wild-eyed stare. Yes, he's her very favorite slacker multimillionaire. Fucking amazing, bro.
That's good, man. Good writer. He is the only rapper Eminem will not rap battle.
Yeah, I would imagine not. Yeah. Every time I see it, looks so grim of a boy. But my girl can't get enough of his sullen demeanor, like he's some big torture genius and I'm some kind of wiener. Dude, dude, you have to listen to this. So good. The bridge is brilliant. I knew we were headed for disaster when she caught me hanging out at the Ticketmaster. Now she's got an unrequited adoration for the frustrated, agitated, designated, alienated spokesman for the disaffected grunge generation. Isn't that the fucking truth? I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I mean, yeah, there was some great music that got made, but just the whole whiny fucking shit of the 80s. I mean, the 90s, just this whole like, man, woe is me. And, it's, oh my God, it was nauseating, really, a lot of it when you look back on it. And I know it's starting to get popular right now.
Well, it's 50-50, both of those things. Like the metal sound and guitar solo ability of the 80s and funness, well, a little bit, mixed with the angst and the woe is me grunge of the 90s. Can you name the band I'm thinking of?
Queensryche?
No.
Oh, I feel like they're in that mold.
Yeah, but they were around like the early 80s.
Yeah, but they really embraced that. Yeah, but they embraced a lot of that 90s sound in the early 90s.
Alice in Chains.
Okay.
Best of both worlds.
I think so. Yeah, that's unique a good call.
You can't really label them. They're not metal. They're not grunge. They're not just rock. They're a little of everything. Incredibly talented band.
Yep. No, I think that's true. That's a good one. I mean, I feel like Queensryche kind of did some of that too, and then they had like that weird sprinkle of like the big theater band shit that was, Meatloaf and Trans-Siberian that became, I forget their original roots of Trans-Siberian, but they had
speaking
that.
of big band, did you see the new release of November Rain
No,
with the orchestral background?
no.
Well, it just dropped this week. It's all right. It's tough because we're just so familiar with all of us, not me and you, but with the original, that
Yep.
when you hear the same thing but a little bit different music, I don't know. To me, it's like, well, it's not as good, but maybe if I heard both at the same time back then for the first time, I don't know. But also, when I did listen to it, it was kind of a treat because it's like almost a little bit like hearing it for the first time again in a new way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
November Rain.
One of the greatest music videos of all time, certainly.
What is, okay, real quick, when I say most iconic part of that video, what's the first thing that pops in your head? What image? Should have popped by now.
I mean, probably that. I just love the second part of that song with Slash on the piano.
What? Slat? Oh, he's standing on the piano.
Yes.
I thought you've been playing. I'm like, no.
Slash standing on the piano and all that. That is what pops to me more.
So
than
for
anything.
me, same. It's Slash, but when he's outside of the church and the big helicopter shot and he's playing the solo.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Of course I know, dude. Get out of here.
You don't know anything. Put your hat back on.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's going to lead us into the next segment, and then because I need to get some new headphones and take a leak. So I'm going to let you carry it because this is your favorite segment. So this is.
Whoa. Half of the, you got to react to the stuff in the wild.
I will just get it going, and I get some new headphones, and whatever. Okay. So this is episode 2.
I'm not doing it in the wild right now.
Why not?
I'll do it when you get back, but I'll carry it until then.
Okay. Well, you come up with something good. I'm using the restroom, and I'm going to get some new headphones because I've been struggling with.
Cool. I'm going to touch on, I think, baseball cards because we talked about that earlier. So this week, for the first time since I'm maybe, I don't know. That's loud for the listeners. Is he going to slam the door? No, he calmed down. He's ruffling a bit. Anyway, baseball cards. First time since I'm probably 13 years old. So we're almost on 15, 20 years here. And that feeling of being in the card shop, for me, it changed. When I was a kid, it was just like pure bliss. And I was excited. And now when I go in, I feel like the attitude, the paradigm has shifted. Because now when I go in, it almost feels like a record shop. Like you're there. And everyone behind the counter is just all-knowing and cooler than you. And what are you even doing in here? And you're almost afraid to ask questions. But anyway, so I'm searching for 2 rookies last year in the Major League, Bobby Witt Jr. and Julio Rodriguez. I think they're going to be studs. Problem is, everyone else also thinks they're going to be studs. So I bought a box of cards for the first time since I'm 12 or 13. And I opened them, and dude, I didn't get either fucking one. Not one rookie card for either one of those dudes. It blew my mind. And the lesson my dad gave me in 1992 was, Tom, if there's a certain card you want, hell, just go out and buy it. Don't bother. You're just going to waste your money if you're buying boxes of cards. Just go buy the card. So, we're 25 years later and I didn't listen at all. And I still don't have the card. And now I'm out the same amount of money that I could have just bought the card for. You back? You hear me?
Yeah.
Dude, the new Bobby Witt Jr. Topps 2022 update series. There's series 1, 2, and update. The update has this rookie card of his, and it's just like a side shot of him and this beautiful fucking flowing mullet.
Nice.
And I want it so badly, and it's impossible to fucking get.
Dude, he's a badass.
I love Bobby Witt.
Yeah, that dude is a fucking badass.
I was just telling them, so I bought a box of cards for the first time, since I'm 12 or 13. And I didn't, expect to necessarily pull that one, but I wanted Julio Rodriguez and Bobby Witt Jr. I didn't get either. Not one fucking even base card rookie of either of them in the whole fucking box.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bummer, man.
Didn't you learn from back then? Just buy the fucking card.
Well, you were gone. That's what my dad told me in 1992. Hell, Tom, just buy the damn
the cards you want. That's
I know,
what it
but
was
it's not as
then.
fun.
It's true.
And when you pull the actual card you want, it means so much more, and you'll have it for life. Actually,
that reminds me of something that, in some ways, was more fun. They had a special on 60 Minutes the other night about it, and it was about how I didn't know this was a thing. Continuing, I just remembered it from the 80s. The sticker albums. Remember, I sent you a couple. I don't know how much you remember them, but that's a huge thing around the world. I didn't know that, but all the countries around the world do the sticker albums for soccer. Okay, where they put them in there, and I obviously, because they talked about that was a thing back in the 70s, and so I remember those sticker albums becoming a thing for NFL football and for MLB baseball in the 80s. And you would get the little sticker packs, and there'd be 5 stickers in, and you try to fill up the book. Mm-hmm. That's still a thing. I was mind blown that that's still a thing with soccer, and it's a huge thing. And they don't do any stupid things with inserts and all this. That's never taken that over, which I think is really refreshing and cool. That it's just about finding them and filling up your book. And I remember how much fun it was, because those sticker packs were like 25 cents back in the 80s.
My mom would let me get one pack.
One pack, and then you'd go home and 3 of them would be duplicates. You'd go, and then when you only needed like 1 or 2, the only chances, unless you want to spend an absolute fortune, was what? Take some to school and see if you could trade for it.
Or punch a kid. But yeah.
So
oddly enough, I also did hockey in that era.
They had. I didn't know there were sticker books for hockey too.
This was more early 90s though. And also, if you need some stickers, I was at a place yesterday, a little half in the wild here. They had like unopened, maybe 5 big like 5 packs, each one of 83 stickers for baseball. So if you're looking for them,
I looked for
$3.
I mean, that's what's beautiful about this is like, this is something that's still exciting and collectible, that you don't have to spend a fortune. I mean, putting those stickers in the book and like placing them all perfectly. And I loved how the stickers fit over a backdrop of some other artwork, and each team, you had to fill out the whole team. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised those died and nobody brought them back. I mean, Topps obviously stole that idea from Panini, and then now Panini has kind of taken over the market and coming back. So
yeah, well, I heard a rumor today that Panini might be going downhill. In the card shop, they were telling me. They were at some summit or something with all the card companies, and Topps is looking good, and then another company is looking to take over, and I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, hey, speaking of Panini and 90s, I hate to keep mentioning this, but my whole sports card collection got stolen from when I was a kid. So back then, nobody gave a shit about soccer, not in America. Nobody. So you could get Panini soccer packs, not stickers, actual cards, for 50 cents, $1, and my dad would just buy me boxes of those so I had something to open. Yep. Anyway, turns out a couple of those, because nobody kept them, are like bangers. I saw a loose Ronaldo, corner was dinged to shit. They still wanted $400 or $500 for it.
Wow.
Anyway, so I had a shitload of those. So throw that into the Brady rookies, Montana, Marino, Favre, LeBron, all my shit gone.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of one that that's why you live in a garage. Yes.
And that's also, well, just keep the shit set up. I can't. You've been here. All the shit, sure. The front door is right here. Okay. If I leave the shit set up.
Somebody delivers mail while we're doing this. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
She does. She loves it. She's like, she gives me a couple knocks. Yeah. Let's hope to God I don't have to sign for anything.
It reminded me of a big sale that I saw on Heritage, or one of this past week. God. It was
another 33 minutes.
No, it was a Sandy Koufax rookie PSA. I think it was an 8 or a 9, and it sold for like 600 some thousand. And that was one of the cards that was in my dad's collection that we discovered in the 90s, and it was high grade. And I sold it at a card show for a couple $1,000 in the 90s. Okay. Now, the reason I remember that is because it came this week, and you said yours got stolen. And the only consolation now that I ever take when I think of my dad's old card collection that were his originals that he opened in the 50s and 60s is that they all got stolen by a contractor at my parents' house in like early 2000. So it sucks that I sold them, because I mean, some of those cards he had 55 Koufax, 55 Clemente, 56 Mantle.
Did he just have baseball from back then?
No, it was a mix because it was both my dads, and my dad Joe, who you've met, I think, he was big into baseball, and then obviously my dad Johnny was into basketball, and then there was a little bit of football mixed in there, but there were some really cool basketball cards. There were the bigger ones from the 70s, Lou Alcindor rookie, the tall ones. There was, I remember, Jerry West rookie, Lou Alcindor rookie. I mean, dude, that whole collection that my grandmother uncovered in that metal box is at least $2 or $3 million at this point if we wouldn't have sold it and then it wouldn't have gotten stolen. I mean, the consolation is that it got stolen. So, at least we got something out of it at the time, and it's a bummer or whatever. I'm sure but it would just be so cool to have a few of those cards of my dad's collection.
Absolutely.
There is a small chance that I buried a few of them in some different box for him. Just Mickey Mantle's, because that was his favorite player. My dad Johnny's favorite player was Clemente. So my dad Joey, I gave him, I put some aside that might be in some box when they move that we might be able to find someday. And at that point, it's not about the value. It's really just about having some of his original cards.
That's how all this started. It's obviously there's much more value there, sentimental and monetarily. But that's what I mean. Like the card is so much more important to you when you pull it.
Yep.
And that's why I want to pull this card. I'm not gonna I can't keep dumping money on boxes of cards, but I want it.
Something that's cool. I saw a guy today and it caught my eye because I'm like, why does this guy have it graded? And it was like a WADA 1, 1.0 of. I'm like, are we at the point now where we're like, a Superman 1.5 is worth X? Are we there with video games? Obviously not. So I'm like, why does this guy have a graded original Zelda, just the cart, WADA graded 1? And I looked at it and he's like, this was actually mine as a kid. And it's like the piece was cracked off. Like there's no reason you would keep that unless it was yours.
Badass. I love that.
I was like, dude, that's fucking amazing. What a piece to have. You know what I mean? And so I thought, because none of my stuff survived. I have none of my original video games from when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. They all eventually got sold, traded, thrown out, whatever. Now I got back into collecting video games in the early 2000s, and I have some of those, but that doesn't have the same. I mean, I like it because it's like, I've held them and kept them for longer than way ahead of the game of this. But that to have one from the 80s that you played, dude, that would be amazing. That would be a top piece of my collection at 1.0.
Man, I'm just thinking, I don't really think I have much of my own stuff. I think my Link to the Past is original. Like that's the one we got for Christmas or whatever the hell. Yeah. I wish I had my 89 Game Boy back. So if anybody out there, out of all 6 listeners, if you have an 89 Game Boy and on the back in red marker, it says Tom, I'll give you tens of dollars for it right now.
Yeah. He'll trade you some of those.
Trade.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll give you
But dude, that would be so cool to have back. And like, imagine that now that I'm thinking of like just having that slabbed and then your name and marker on the back that you wrote when you were, 5, 6 years old. Like,
what do you have? So let's say this, what do you have from your childhood that you never got rid of? See, the problem for me is we moved. My parents sold the house we grew up in and my grandma's house got sold. If that would have never happened, I think I'd have a heck of a lot more, certainly a lot of video games. I have only really like one thing that's original from my childhood. I have stuff that I bought maybe 10 or 15 years later to go back and replace it. But I have my original RC-10T truck that I built and made, which is super awesome. And of course I love it, but I don't, that's like kind of one of the only things that I have that I've actually had from the day that it came out in the 80s or 90s.
I have a sleeping bag.
Okay.
It's red.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
about it. No, dude, along with the video games, or the cards, my video games, comics, everything got stolen in one hit. It was at the storage unit. So it's tough. And that's probably why I have so much shit now. Like, because, and that's borderline hoarding. Like, I'm not a hoarder, but what I'm saying is that mindset, the psychology behind it, it's like it got taken from me and now I want it back. And, the shit I have now, I didn't even have as a kid, but it still just leads to wanting to have all that stuff again. Like there's this empty feeling, I guess.
Do you-
It's more subconscious than anything.
Do you think, I mean, because certainly that's what a lot of this is about for us. You get my girlfriend who's only 27 likes to say, oh, you're in a midlife crisis collecting all your old toys instead of, buying a Corvette.
Another pair of Jordans? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. At least I didn't buy a Corvette and look for strippers. So sorry, I got some Super Mario Brothers games.
But like we've always talked about too, the shit we buy for the most part, it's stuff we can then resell and get money and hopefully usually more money out of later. So it's not like we're just pissing it away on hookers on a piece of ass or an 8-ball or a fucking 87 I'll allow the 87 Corvette. The hookers and the blow, yeah, that's a waste of money. But this stuff
It is
not a good ROI.
Who was it that said, I spend 90% of my money on women, wine, and gambling. The other 10% I blow. Yeah, that was an old famous boxer, I think. Maybe Rocky Marciano or
Hey,
something.
man, I took a boxing class this week.
Nice. Did you get your ass kicked by the bag?
No, there's no bag. Dude, this is crazy. It was on the Hollywood Hills, like on top of one of the hills, legit house. And there's like this big deck with a pool and all this stuff. And like these 5 Turkish German dudes. And one's a former middleweight champion. And I go there and went with Sarah. And, I have zero boxing experience. I've watched it. I'm familiar, but they didn't know that. They thought like, oh, this guy's been doing this a while. So they put me through the fucking paces. I'm still sore. My quads are burning.
Mm-hmm.
What are these? Are these traps up here?
Yeah,
the
Michelle traps.
Obama muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got.
Mm-hmm.
Those are sore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good, man. But Jesus Christ, my body did not like it. It started getting stuffy and sneezy, and it doesn't like physical activity. Anyway, enough with the physical boxing and the whatnot.
But the question that I have then is like a lot of the stuff we got back because we're reliving the nostalgia and whatever. If you had, because like I said, I had all the games that I have. I bought them when they came out for the most part, or within close to the year that they came out, right? But they're not the original ones. They're ones that I've gotten to replace it nostalgically later. Let's say that I have a friend from high school whose parents kept all of his old video game stuff. So all the games that he has, and they're all nicely, he was meticulous and immaculate with his stuff. He has all the old NES and SNES stuff. Like, if you had that, would you not feel the need to get all this stuff sealed? Like, for me, I think if I had all this, and I'll certainly have a lot more, that's all the games that I had over the years. If I had them opened in good condition they were my pieces, I don't know if I would feel as drawn to go and get like a mint sealed copy because I'm like when I saw that guy's original NES cart today, I was like, dude, that's badass. Like,
no, it is. I think it's different for me and you because I can't afford sealed fucking NES or SNES games. Like, it's not even a fucking pipe dream for me. So I don't even have to think about it. But if we're talking just theoretically, like, I don't know. I still think my favorite games, like I'd still want a Super Mario World just because I love it so much. I'd still want a Link to the Past. I'd still want a Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
All those things sealed. It'd just be really cool to have. But yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question if we still had our original stuff. I don't know. Like, I don't even like Joe Montana that much, but I want a Joe Montana rookie because mine got fucking stolen. So maybe, I don't know.
I think it's hard to say, but yeah, like if I had the original first, because I remember I had a bunch of them, but I remember the first Ken Griffey Jr. 89 Upper Deck I opened. I remember opening it. It was iconic time. Like if I had that still, even if it wasn't even in great shape anymore, like that would trump any other stuff that I have of his. Right? Just because that's the one that I have. That's why, God, I wish I had these cards that my dad opened in 1955, more than anything. Certainly they'd be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we had them in the 90s. It's crazy that we got rid of them or they got stolen. But like that would mean more than anything, in my opinion. And probably would to me, too, of my own stuff.
The card I wish we still had, it was they bought me and my 2 brothers a box of, I think it's 92-93 Stadium Club basketball, Shaq rookies, right?
Yeah, yeah. The one where he's like going up all awkward. Yeah.
Well, but it's not that one. The biggest card in the world at the time, as far as new cards go, was the Beam Team Shaq.
Beam Team Shaq, and the Beam Team Jordan was sweet.
So I think you got one Beam Team a box.
Yep.
The Jordan Beam Team is awesome. So, but if you remember right, the packaging, it's black and then there's an orange stripe.
Yep.
If you looked at the side of the orange stripe and held it against the cards, you could see if a beam team was in there because there'd be a black card in the middle. So we're opening the packs, we're not seeing anything. And then finally there's a couple packs left and we look and we're like, holy shit, this has got to be it. Well, to be fair, that was just a rumor at the time. You didn't actually know. There was no internet. There was no nothing, right? And I didn't open it. My eldest stepbrother, Danny, did. And he opens it. And we're like, oh, nervous. And, he's going through the cards. And he does. And we see the fucking beam team, Shaq. And, like, we all went ape shit. Like, we just got an N64 for Christmas. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, don't drop it. And he's like, I won't. And it was insane. And I don't know.
Put it in a screw down. Put it in a screw down.
We probably did.
Flatten it out.
So that card was worth $300 at the time, which was insane money for an 8-year-old. I was 8, then 10 and 12 were the other two. But like, so we didn't know, like, well, should we sell it? Mm-hmm. Should we keep it? And I think we decided we'll keep it. It'll be worth like $1 million one day. And then it got stolen. But
isn't it crazy to think what the card prices were then? Like, and what was a lot in the card market at that time? I mean, you have kids that are dealing in the card market now. They're kids, they're teenagers or younger, and they're dealing with cards that are $20 and $40 and $50,000 and $100 and more. It's like, wait, what?
Yep.
I mean, to us, it was, Jordan's rookie and Griffey's rookie and Shaq's beam team and whatever else. And we're talking a few $100s. Like, oh my God, like, and now it's just mind boggling. I mean, I think a lot of it is going to come crashing down. It's all false,
100%.
Nonsense,
it's oversaturated. It's the same shit that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. It got big. People wanted to get rich quick. The company saw that. They overproduced everything. That's exactly what's happening.
Well, they're overproducing one-of-ones, right? Oh, this one-of-one. That's one-of-one. This one-of-one. Oh, my God.
If you have 100 different one-of-ones in one series, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's so dumb. All that shit is so dumb.
It's going to crash so fucking hard.
You can't. We've said this before. I've said this for a long time. The long-term collectibles that hold value are the ones that were organically scarce and organically created. Period. Like, that's it. You can't. Everything else to me is fucking Beanie Babies. So one-of-one Beanie Baby. Oh my God. Like, no, that doesn't work. It's your grandma's dish plates that she ordered off the television. It's all bullshit. Collectible
plates.
Non-stop. All right, let's hit this section for you because then we gotta hit this back here. All right. This is number 2 of Into the Wild.
All right, you're going to like this one. This first one is specifically for you.
Let's see what you got in the wild this week.
I found another one. This is number 4, and this is insane because we looked for 2 years for this and couldn't find any of them.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, dude.
Another one, yeah. Now you can send me that one instead of the torn sealed one you sold me last time.
All right. This one's real torn. No, this one's actually pretty decent. Not a promo like the other one. But...
For our podcasting people, this is the sealed cassette of Over the Top soundtrack with the legendary Kenny Loggins song, Meet Me Halfway across the sky.
I always say line, it's sky.
Up where the world belongs to only you and I. Oh, God.
My little symphonic trumpet was so good. All right,
is there anybody better at writing iconic soundtrack songs than Kenny Loggins?
Absolutely.
Game, set, and match, bro.
All right, bro. Hang on.
Number 2 piece in Into the Wild.
This is going to be tough. I'm going to...
It's as wild as a 70s Playboy bush. Oh, look, was that meant for me to say that or what? Dude, I remember that poster.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Tell them what it is.
Cindy Crawford. Wow. Wow. And I remember, dude, that was like a carnival staple. Remember?
Yep. So, Cindy Crawford, full-size poster, looking good with her Hollywood.
With the jean jacket. Whoo!
They threw this one in, too. This one, not so good, but...
Alyssa Milano, she's good for a nooner.
Rocking that Adidas.
Oh my God, look at that outfit. She thinks she looks like Punky Brewster.
Yeah, she's really trying. In the wild.
In the wild. All right, well, that leads me into the next segment of, because I don't have anything in the wild, but I did get a mail call, so I can bounce off a mail call, and this will lead me to talk about the rest of this stuff. So I am bummed about 6 months, a year ago, my Super Mario 2, round seal that I got graded in 2009 that I probably bought around 2005. Went in a trade, my Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which I still would make that trade. I love that. That's an iconic game. It was an 80 plus. It was graded in an 09. That went in a trade, and I've been working on completing my Mario set with all oval seals instead, and then high grade CIBs for the second. So I was able to get an upgrade. I had an 80 for a while, and I just upgraded it to this 80 plus from a guy in Canada. He wanted to bring.
It's not a Canadian release, right?
No, it's a U.S. release. But
so I'll do the honors this time for the listeners. That is a VGA 80 plus Super Mario 2 oval seal.
The white oval seal, correct. And obviously the first print round seal is more coveted. Mine was also an 80 plus, and it was funny because the one I traded away had the original Kmart sticker on it that I never removed, and this one does too, which I just think is awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
That does, I ended up sending him my 80 and some cash to make this trade, and there is really a drastic difference between 80 and 80 plus, obviously as you move up. But the 80
so getting into numbers, what would you say fair market value of an 80 is right now, and then an 80 plus?
That 80 is probably a couple thousand at most, and right now is a hard time to judge values of anything, but just a few months ago it would have been a lot more. The 80 plus is probably 3,500. Okay, depending on what it looks like. Now I'll say, depending, and that's what I wanted to talk about with this. You have a big difference in there because it's much more likely for an 80 plus that I've seen to be in the 9 range. Most 80s that I've seen, unless you get an anomaly, are probably 85s or 80s, potentially even lower, but that's probably where they are. And some beat up boxes with pristine seals, VJ loves that. But you have a good shot at 80 pluses crossing well, whereas 80s not so much. Now, this is the other thing I like to talk about. All the ones in my collection are either mine that I graded in 09 or ones that I've acquired since. But if you look, this 80 plus doesn't have the archival casing, which sometimes can be a giveaway of an older grade. I did talk to the guy. This is an older grade. Mine were graded over 10 years ago where the standards were a bit different. And at that time, all of these stickers were significant grading dings, including this puffy one on the bottom was always a big grading ding. Now, I've looked this over since I got it. It's probably a 9.2 or 9.4, okay? The majority of the grading reduction here is from those stickers because the seal is really nice. I think this is probably like a 9.4 A+. And the one that was a newer one that I had picked up was probably an 8.0 or 8.5 A, okay? This was a big upgrade for me because I love this game. Let's not disregard what an important, iconic Super Mario 2 is to the franchise in general and to video game history. Different characters with different abilities. It took away, full, where you not just side scrolling, but you could go into other areas. You could fall down. I love to me, this is the Empire Strikes Back of Super Mario games because it's finally appreciated later as more of a cult classic, and it has a lot more like grimy components to it.
The Temple of Doom.
Yeah. I love this game, and I love this cover. And so my point in saying that is the older grades can sometimes, if this were regraded now, this is an 85 for sure. Remove those stickers. Might even be an 85 plus, but you remove those stickers, and that brings me to my point about, CGC is now coming out with their video game grading, and it's going to take some time to figure out what their standards are. I've heard from a lot of people that now WADA has moved to California. There's new people grading. Their standards have changed, and their standards already became tighter, and that's why you saw a lot more A seal grades recently rather than A plus and A plus plus. So there are some real deals to be had on older VGA grades, depending on why they were graded the way that they were. So for me, it goes to like a couple of all of my Mario collection stuff is in this realm because
so that's your Cleveland tip of the week.
Cleveland tip of the week. This one as well. This 80 plus Super Mario oval seal for my collection is an older grade. This is over 10 years old, and this was for sure probably be an 85. It's regraded now. It's probably a 9.2 A plus. It has almost zero flaws except for some seal issues and a couple very small corner pokes. I mean, this is a really high, but this is older. This is probably 10 years old as a grade. This Super Mario 3, I graded this. This is mine from 2009. This thing is immaculate. This is probably one of the cleanest games that I own in my collection. Okay? You know why it's an 85? Because there's a big black puffy sticker on the back. Okay?
Security sticker?
Security sticker. Yeah, the one with like the razor inside, you know?
Oh, yeah.
This one, honestly, like I've looked this over meticulously, is probably like a 9.8 A plus. Okay? With a good cleaning of the seal, it's probably an A plus.
So I have a related, unrelated question as far as stickers. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. For what's that company? AFA, the action figure grading company.
Yeah, action figure authority. Same as VGA. Yeah.
Do they ding for price stickers? Or I guess those don't really have security stickers, but like, you know, like a KB toy sticker or something like that.
So they do still continue to ding for price stickers, depending a lot on placement, because they do take into account
like if it covers a key piece of art or something.
To them, one of their grading factors is like visual presentation. Like, how does it look? How does it, you know, whatever. So that is part of their grading. You know, it's up for debate whether that's really their quote unquote job to do that, right? Or is it just to grade quality issues?
Yeah, that is a tough one now that I think about it. But
yeah,
I mean, I'd rather have a KB sticker than somebody ripped off the sticker and pulled up some of the, even if it's a little bit of the, you know, the cardboard, and then it's just not art. It's this little speckle of underneath.
Well, I talked to them extensively about VHS stuff, and possible that they have made a slight adjustment to some of their grading standards when it comes to, because for me, I said, you know, I don't like removing those period correct price stickers, not like the Kmart one. Okay, I'm talking about the ones that are literally printed probably at the distribution level that come to the stores already with Kmart, Walmart, and the big one with the proper barcoding and everything. To me, I said, that's in essence from the factory. Like, why would you, like, I can understand removing it and for personal preference, but from a grading standpoint, like, to me, that adds to its value. It helps authenticate it.
Just so people, I'm going to pull up two examples because they're literally right in front of me so people can know what price sticker you're talking about. So when you say the factory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're talking like that. And then there's the other kind with smaller font.
Yeah. Drop it down for the, yep. There we go. Yeah, any of those kind that are printed, most likely those are not printed and put on at the stores. Those were from big box retailers, and probably they had a negotiation with the distribution companies to have those all put on prior to the store level. Yeah, it says Kmart on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were probably all made for these companies at the distribution level. So my point in saying that was that's a personal preference. For me, it adds to its authenticity. It adds to its nostalgia. If you want to take it off, great. And if you don't, great. But it shouldn't affect the grading of the piece.
I agree.
Because
it does suck
distribution
if it
level.
does cover up art. Like, I get that. But for those who do want to take it off, those usually do come off pretty easily. The only real caveat is if you're, you know, dicking around, you could tear the seal, which that's even worse.
Or sometimes you'll get a little stretch. Yeah,
yep,
a little
that's
outline.
What I mean. You get, and that kind of kills it. I'd rather just have the price sticker there, but we're different. We love that shit. I have one more in the wild I forgot about.
Okay.
Nintendo Power. I'll do the top first.
Ooh, I mean, anything Pokemon will find its Pokemon Nintendo Player's Guide.
This comes with, the cool thing about this is it comes with a sticker sheet. And as you know, what kids do, they fucking take the stickers out, right?
Yeah.
I gotta get it down here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first release, Pokemon Official Nintendo Player's Guide, and there's the sticker sheet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
all there. Pretty cool, man. The first
I mean,
time
you'll always find a Pokemon landing spot, you know.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an 8 or 8.5, which we'll see. We'll see.
Have you looked into the value of those at all?
Nintendo Power or the Pokemon specific one?
Yeah, that one there specifically.
I did like 2 minutes of digging research. They're actually kind of hard to find than you think. There's 2 on eBay right now that are in way worse condition. I think one's 50 and I think one's 150.
Yep.
But yeah, the common part about those is the missing stickers, and the one that always goes first is Pikachu.
So I will say now I'm at a point where, you know, I got back into the video games 2 years ago. Some of the stuff I had left over from when I was collecting in the mid 2000s and graded in 2009, I was able to get an upgrade to Mario 64. So I'm now at 80 plus as well for that one.
Oh, yes.
From 80 to 80 plus. So now all of my Mario collection is at least in that 80 plus range.
What's the flaw on that one? What is it, more box or more seal?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's always box crushing with those 80s, with those N64s. They're so hard to not have some kind of veining in any of the corners or something because they flattened in so easily. So, I mean, yeah, certainly a mint copy of that. You can understand why they do big money because they're very hard to find. But, I mean, look at that. Those are 6 of the most iconic games, certainly 5 of the most iconic games in video game history. If you could have one, which would it be?
Mario World.
Yeah, that's probably easy for you and I. Yeah.
What is your? I know you have one. What's your Link to the Past grade?
75 plus.
Oh, it's for girls.
For girls. Send it.
Oh yeah, give it to the charity. Oh
yeah. I mean, you know that you and I had a strange connection with that game. I didn't play it right away, even though I was absolutely enamored and mesmerized by early Zelda on NES, both titles. And then for some reason I had gotten into some other things, and certainly Super Mario took over for me at the Super Nintendo level. So, but yeah, that's why I didn't make it a huge priority. And some of the recent sales of that game have been a little soft, surprisingly.
Zelda?
Yeah, Link to the Past.
Huskinson just posted one this morning, actually.
Yeah, raw copy. I saw
it. He never played it.
Yeah, I mean, I played it, but I remember I played it. Actually, I didn't play it till I think my second year of college. So you can imagine how much further down the road.
I told open it up, play it.
Oh, yes, get it out.
Jeez, the heck you mean?
Actually, the cool thing is that I picked up right when I got back into collecting a couple years ago.
Raw or graded?
I picked it up raw, I think, and then got it graded. I have a copy that I got in the early 2000s. It's like mint CIB. And to me, that one actually at this point means more to me than the sealed one if I can get a really high grade, because it's been with me for over 20 years, you know? And so that's why I said, like, I'm kind of at the point where all the pieces that I have, I want them to have some story, because I don't have anything from my original childhood, but I want something that's either been with me a really long time or has a really cool connections. Because I could tell you pretty much how or where or why I got almost all of my pieces in my collection, right? And so I'm at that point where it's like, if I don't, I loved the game or it was a great game, but if I don't have a connection with how I got it, some cool trade, some hustle, some whatever, some crazy story, that's kind of what this journey's been back into this whole nostalgia for me, is like creating new stories of how I got these. I want to get to the point where, like Brad Pitt says, I just want to be done with that and just start playing this shit again.
Hold on. What about Brad Pitt?
Remember I told you he's ready to retire from acting so he can go play some old Sega games?
Oh, yeah. Well, they don't know that.
Yeah.
To them, or even to me, it just sounded like, I just want to get to the point with Brad Pitt. I'm like,
I mean, who wouldn't want to get to the point with Brad Pitt?
Oh my God, I'd get to the point.
I'm not getting to Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt. I mean,
I saw a cool piece from him yesterday. I was at this randomly found this store that like they get like wardrobe from the studios out here, the like Warner Brothers, Fox, whatever. And on the wall, actually next to each other, one was do you remember that basketball tie he wore in 7?
I don't remember the tie specifically.
It's just such like a dark fucking movie, you know. And then he's wearing a tie with fucking like goofy basketballs on it, and he's supposed to be a detective. That always stood out to me. I bet people don't even notice that. But anyway, they had that, and then right next to it, and these are like legit. These are props or wardrobe from the movie. They had Rocky IV shorts.
Oh well.
Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
hubba.
Hubba.
Stallone, baby. Hey, you should watch his new show, Tulsa King.
Did you watch it yet?
No, but you should watch it.
Oh, okay. Why? Yeah, thanks. I love how we do that to each other. Have you seen that? No. But did you see it? No.
You said you were going to watch A Christmas Story Christmas, did you?
I am. When Christmas season comes.
You said last Friday.
I know I was going to watch it on the premiere, but you know how I am about Christmas before Thanksgiving. So first thing after, I'm on it. Okay? And then we'll discuss it on this.
No,
we'll discuss it in a committee.
Christmas.
We'll discuss it in a committee. All right, we're at an hour and 15 minutes. I think that's more than long enough.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for episode 5, and we will, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. My favorite non-Halloween holiday of the year. Eat some food, watch some football,
watch some planes, trains, and automobiles this week,
and that too. Signing off from the 80s. Your boys, the 80s dipshits. Have a good night.
See you.